Another generation, another controversial suspect test. It's your boy Franklin. What's up, guys? Thank you guys so much for all the support on the recent videos and live streams. Appreciate if you guys smash that like and sub button. It helps grow my channel, and that's the best way you can support me for free. Not even a single penny is going into the channel if you just simply like and subscribe. So thank you guys very much. So let's get right into the controversial topic for the next 2 weeks. Terastalization is getting suspect tested in Smogon OU. Now, before we kick and scream at our parents, before we start bashing people, let's talk about what Smogon really is. So, there is no official singles competitive format. So, Smogon, which has been around for God knows how long, I'm pretty sure they've been around longer than some of y'all been walking on planet Earth. They have created a tiering system, a community in which you can play competitive single formats in the most balanced and optimal way. Now, is it fun? I mean, fun is subjective for a lot of people. Having fun playing stall is one thing, and then having fun playing hyper offense is another thing. So fun is very subjective, but overall they're trying to make or create metagames that are very competitive yet balanced. If you guys recall from last generation, Dynamax ended up getting banned in OU, which is the tier I'm going to be talking about today, since that's the most played tier in Smogon and in, unofficial singles competitive formats. Dynamax was banned due to the fact that the mechanic itself was broken. I mean, it was just completely obvious. It was just broken from the get-go. And now we have Terastalization, which is a new mechanic in Generation 9, and obviously if you guys know or don't know what it is, you get to change the typing of your Pokemon while maintaining the stab boosts of your previous typing. So, why are they suspect testing it? Well, there was a survey in OU that came out, and 4,000 respondents completed that survey, me being one of them, and 61% or 62, I would say, pretty much a good chunk of the people of the community in general were saying that Terastalization needs some tiering action. Now, do I agree that Terastalization needs to get banned? Absolutely not. I don't think Terastalization is that broken, and it's not over centralizing per se, which is those factors that will lead to a suspect test. I do think it has to be restricted in a certain way. Now, if you want to compare this to VGC, you actually have to reveal your Terra typing on your team sheets. So that's one way to quote-unquote restrict or nerf Terastalization's power. But ultimately in OU we don't have that, because it's Showdown. People play OU on Showdown, and that's it. Game Freak doesn't support singles competitive formats, and there you have it. So they want to give out this suspect test that would best capture the situation for the community given everything that was presented. So obviously, again, I'm very glad that they're asking the community, hey, is there things that are being problematic in the tier? Is there something that we can do? Because if I recall, in the beginning of Generation 8, they didn't really cater towards the community in general, because the tiering console is made up of 8, 9, 10 people, and they get to decide, oh yeah, we need a suspect test. And I guess they're trying to avoid that mistake, and I'm glad that in the latter portions of Generation 8 and in Generation 9, they're doing these tiering surveys for people to vote on, people to rate, hey, is there something wrong with this Pokemon so-and-so? Do you think this Pokemon needs to get suspect tested? Do you think this mechanic needs to get nerfed or banned or whatever? And me being part of this community, I actually have completed suspect tests in Generation 8. The 3 of them being the Pheromosa, Urshifu Single Strike, and Spectre. So I was able to get my Rex, I was able to vote, and the outcomes, all 3 of them got banned. And you can join them too. There's obviously a whole list of instructions that you can do to get your opinion out there. Obviously, getting the Rex of games in GXE, oh boy, it's a daunting challenge. It's always harder than actual laddering. But let's talk about something here. So I think for the first time in a very long time, they're deciding a couple options in regards to terastalization. So obviously the very first one is, do you want tearing action on terastalization? And obviously the two choices is action or no action. Keep it as is. So keep terastalization the way it is in OU. Now, if you want action, they're going to give you the following options. But in order for any tearing action to occur, over 60% of responses must be in favor of tearing action. So if it doesn't even hit the majority, which is a 60%, then there's no reason. It will stay just the way it is. But if it happens to be the case and people want tearing action, they're giving us the following options. So one of them is outright ban it. So deleting terastalization from OU. I really don't want to see this happening. One, I think terastalization isn't completely broken. It's not over centralizing in any metagame perspective, which is part of the reason why we have these suspect tests in the first place, is to get rid of all the stuff that is over centralizing or just restricts team building, which I don't think terastalization does that. The next option is 1 Terra user per team. Only the first member of your party will be allowed to terastalize during the course of the battle. I think that kind of forces you to play in a way, oh, if I want my sweeper to have this Terra typing, I have to throw it out first in battle. I think that's kind of not great, because then that means, oh, well, you know, I have to use my sweeper, my main hitter on the team. It has to go first. Or only the first member, I'm sorry. I have to put this Pokemon in the beginning of my party. I mean, I don't know. I think that seems a little too... I don't know. I just feel like that doesn't seem like the greatest option, because you still wouldn't know what the Terra typing of that Pokemon is going to be, because there's 18 Terra typings you can choose from. And you wouldn't know, which I think that still is a problem with the current status of terastalization. The next one, which I think is the best option, reveal Terra type at team preview. Any Pokemon can terastalize, but the type they would do so into is disclosed at team preview prior to a battle. I think this is probably the best option. If I can see what Terra typing you will be, I think my opponent and I will not have any informational disadvantages, which I think that is the biggest reason why it's getting suspect tested. Because, for example, let's say that I'm winning my opponent, or I'm beating the crap on my opponent 6-1. He's down to his last Pokemon. He terastalizes into a typing I was not expecting. He sets up on me and I get swept. Does that sound like a skillful and a very competitive format where if I make one false move in a turn, it'll cost me the entire match just because my opponent terastalized in a typing I wasn't expecting? I think that's a little unfair, and I do think that the 50-50 mind game, you know, yes, predicting is kind of a skill when it comes to Pokemon, especially in 6v6 when it's a very competitive battle. I don't think it's not skillful. I don't think it's skillful if it's a lot of luck comes into play, you know. So I do think revealing the Terra typing will be pretty cool at team preview. I think this is probably the best option. If I had to vote, which I'm actually working on my Rex right now, I would actually vote for this. And then the last one, only stab Terra types allowed. Any Pokemon can terastalize, but they may only do so to types that match their initial stab typings. This to me doesn't sound that great, because this pretty much will signal all the Pokemon that hit incredibly hard, like Chiwu or Chinpao. You know, those type of Pokemon will just become... It'll be essentially become a hard-hitting format where all the breakers become essentially unstoppable, and defensive Pokemon cannot really terastalize into their stab typings, because the whole point of defensive Pokemon is to terastalize into a different type that prevents sweepers or wall breakers from destroying the other teams, which this is just pretty much mean it's going to be a hyper-offensive metagame, and defensive Pokemon are just going to get crippled by this a lot, because they cannot, again, stop the heavy hitters in the metagame. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the suspect test. I didn't really want to talk too much or go into detail because everyone has access to this. I do think that at least Smogon is trying to, you know, not repeat the same mistakes that they did with the Dynamax suspect testing, and they're trying to listen to our voices and our opinions by giving us these surveys. Which, by the way, if you're saying, oh, Smogon is just suspect testing or trying to ban this because, 9 people wanted to do this. No, the community, the majority of the community wanted this to happen based on the survey results. So obviously that argument gets tossed out the window. And then there's the people who's like, well, I don't play Smogon on you, OU. I play Wi-Fi battles and singles. I think everything's fair. Yeah, good for you. So if you play singles, Wi-Fi battles, and they have nothing to do with Smogon on you, then don't gaslight the situation. If you don't play it, then you shouldn't get mad that they're suspect testing something that the public, the community wanted in the first place. So there you have it. And obviously, I'm going to conclude this video by saying, like, hey, I've been playing Smogon for years. They've been around for many, many years. The way you play Pokemon, it's very subjective. Having a competitive yet fun metagame is pretty hard to come by, especially when Game Freak doesn't really care about none of that stuff. They cater more towards VGC. But for the people who play singles, we are trying to have a competitive and balanced metagame. Yes, I do want it to be fun, because the whole point of playing Pokemon is to have fun, right? But fun is very subjective. And so they are trying to initially, let everyone understand that, hey, we're trying to do this in order to preserve a meta game that could be boring very quick. Again, boring being very subjective. But at the same time, they're just looking out for the best interests of the community rather than a single entity that is Smogon. So let me know what you guys think about this suspect testing. I know it's probably going to be a very controversial topic, and it ends in January 1st. So we're going to see what happens in the next 2-3 weeks once this is over, and see what's the fate of Terastalization in OU. And like I said, I'm currently doing the suspect testing right now, so if I get Rex, I would probably ask for some action and then probably use the reveal Terra type at team preview. Let me know what you guys think about this hot topic. If you play Showdown or play Smogon OU rules, let me know what you guys think. See you guys on the next video. Please like and subscribe. That's the best way to support the channel for free. Thank you very much. See ya.